gonna know who you are, what you feel, till you felt a few things that just don't feel real.
Got the magical glow on this morning with just a little white, because you know they've been up there whitening out the sky, you know, with them big old jet airplanes, flying over you and I, and making big crisscrosses in the sky, and little circles too, and making some of us feel kind of old and kind of blue, because we know we're getting nano aluminum and barium and virus and shit like that, you know. Well, guess what? You can't kill this old coyote medicine show, no matter how wide in the sky you float, or how much shit you put up there, babies. Ooh, you so square. You're not even there, man. We gotta help you get back, you know, gee whiz. You know, so just love the sky, and it'll always be alright with you and I. And nothing there can hurt us, no matter what it be, and who planted it there, and who can see. We don't care. We know in our heart. We're immune. You know, just like the moon, man. You can't put it's there. You know, we're just there. We're here, babies. You've thrown all of your BS at us, man. I mean, look at the contamination in the food these days. Here in the USA, it's off the charts. I hope it's better where you are, but people are getting wise. And they're growing their own food and buying from organic farmers, and organic brands are getting big in the stores. And a lot of them probably big lies, but who cares? It's the idea. It's the energy. If it says organic, guess what? It is. I don't care if it's the biggest fraud of all. You know? I really don't. Because the energy of it. See, that's what's important here. Energy, life. You know, and life goes, energy goes in our food, babies. And this is why we're all still alive. Because we love what we do. We love who we are. We love just existing and breathing, let alone eating, you know. And if we eat out of a can, man, well, goodness gracious, forgive us ever and ever, because we know we poisoned our heart and soul and should have been dead long time ago, you know. But guess what? We ain't. You know, hit this here old cadaver, this old man here, this grandpa coyote, Pedro is what, Pita. That was one of my friends used to say, Pita. Then she would say, come hither, and I'd be in big trouble, man. But this old grandpa, raggedy old soul that he be, if he can pick up on this reality, well, goodness gracious, so can you, man. I'm a bumbler of the worst sort, man, you know. I'm always misleading my heart, you know. I like to do that, you know. Keep myself challenged a bit in this reality. But you know, I got all these old ancient soul sisters, and I keep running into them here and there, and I can't help but be attached to them for a while, you know, because they're just off the charts in gorgeousness in their heart, in their soul. You know, the outward appearance is pleasing too, of course, but the inward soul, man, just draws me in sometimes. I'm really easy target that way. Well, I've seasoned myself a bit now, and I'm slowing down and turning around and looking at myself in the mirror and saying, good grief, how many images are there of this old man? You know, how many times do I have to go around the merry-go-round before I get, you know, encourage the horse to jump off and let's go for a real ride, babies, you know? The merry-go-round's fun and we've had a great time, but shoot, it just keeps going round and round. The scenery never changes. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Aren't you dizzy? Aren't you bored out of your skull? Whoops, I said that word, didn't I? Oh, darn. You can never be bored in this life. Even if you're on the merry-go-round, just remember it's fun and you paid for it, man. You get to ride, you know. But guess what? You and that horse, you know, and your goings around and around. Well, of course, you get off every now and then and go out there and rehabilitate yourself, because you can only ride the merry-go-round so long before you get tired of it, you know. But then, dang, you get right back on and ride again, man, you know, and shoot. Now you've gone on it about 32,000 times in the billion-year history of humanity. Yeah, that's right. I said a billion years, man. These dudes and dudettes that think they got it, you know, are just barely skimming the surface of one of the last more refined civilizations historically that we lived in. And I'm speaking specifically of Atlantean days. And they always confuse that with Lemuria. and try to tell you that Atlantis and Lemuria were at war. Well, goodness gracious, they exist in different paradigms, babies. There's no way they could have a war, not in the land of the separate dream. The war with Atlantis was kind of like with Egypt, over there. It wasn't called that then. It was something like that, but it was like, it was like the center of power, and Atlantis was jealous because it thought it was. I mean, anyway, it's a long story, and it goes on forever. And it's written in your heart. So I just give you little clues, man, and then you can kind of remember how it was if you were one of those souls that were present there. Generally speaking, most all of us were. Those that are here now were there then, because they're very similar times. In that simultaneous way, how I talk about it all the time, how it's time stacked on top of itself, it's spiraling upwards, kind of, and we live simultaneous energies in every life, because it's at the same point on the spiral, man, It's just many levels of it, you see. Oh, my. I tell you, I don't know why we even go there. Because it just stretches the mind to beyond, it boggles it, I mean, how do you see beyond the concept of time? Well, I'll tell you, you start remembering the times when that's been your circumstance. Everybody has at least one moment where time has slowed down, sped up, missing time, stuff like that, You start to get the idea, that's a clue, that's an indication, that's a reality, really. The time, truthfully, does not exist, and if it does exist, it's extremely malleable. That you can slow it down, speed it up, jump around in it, do whatever you want with it, you see. This is living proof that time itself is an illusion. Because it's that malleable. It's a dream, babies. It's a dream we're dreaming. A nightmarish one of its sort, you God bless it right. Where the hell did Obama come from? I mean, where the hell did Dick Cheney come from? Let alone Hillary. Just makes me want to cry every time I think of her. Geez, Rachel, man. I tell you what, if there was ever a person that did not deserve to be, and then ladies, don't take this wrong, I love you, but this lady don't belong there, man. She's lived too tawdry of a past. She needs to go home and rehabilitate, Maybe she needs to go to the mountains of Virginia for a while and hang out there at Camp David or something, Maybe Obama will let her do it. I mean, she is the ex-Secretary of State, and she's in need of some serious rehabilitation, I see her tear-streaked face speaking from Camp David to a video camera that's connected to everywhere, and the networks can't shut it off because we did a little override on it. You see, the empowerment of the human heart is allowing different things to happen now. And I see old Hillary, and this is from the heart, babies, and it's not an insult to anybody. I see old Hillary standing before that camera and embracing the heart of the children of humanity for the first time in her ever-loving life, since she was a tiny little girl and got the shit beat out of her for being a girl. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? She's been trying to overcome that forever since then, and she's hurt like hell because of it. And we can have some compassion for her in this a moment like this, as she stands there before that camera at Camp David, Maryland, and gives her little speech, her little rendering of the heart, wherein she reveals it all. And, with great respect to the people. Apologizes, but at the same time embraces it. And says, this is what I was led into by my circumstances in life. What about you people out there? Are you real? Are you real enough to be real like I am, Hillary? Yes, I admit, I've been there. I did that. I did that. I did that. I did that. Whitewater, hell yeah. The blowjob, big diversion. You betcha. We're clever little devils. I want her to tell it all. But with tears flowing. The makeup blurring. I mean, the real person coming forward. Because she does have one inside. Everybody does. I don't care how stony they are on the exterior. Or what they've done. Now, most of us know, so I'm not going to go on to describe in detail any of her supposed crimes, but you guys know what they are. I mean, they're exposed everywhere. I mean, we see through them a long time ago. All we got to do is quit accepting that reality as our reality, you see. The political world has no power, the economic one either. And those are just tools of enslavement and enrichment of certain souls at the expense of everybody else who, shoot. They're tawdry excuses for an organization that's compassionate and humanitarian. Shit. They're the exact opposite of that. They're all about taking humans away from their heart, not letting them have it back. Well, guess what? The heart lives in everyone, so that can't happen. Never will, never has. In all of our history, billion-year history, by golly, and I'll stand by that like a stone, too. You can believe what you want, but it's at least that. And we've been through about, by the archaeological evidence, let alone what I feel and remember in my heart, at least 32 big old changes. This is 33, the magic number of infinity. And that means we've gotten to a real elevated point or some circumstance similar to that. You know, we've been through various genetic formations and so forth, you know. We've been through all these stages, you know. It's written in your heart, every bit of it. Face your darkness, you find the light. You find the story that helps you get it right. The true reality of the drama, the poetry, the giving, caring, savage enslavement, a great sacrifice to the heart that every human being lives in every life they live, whether it's a life of elevated privilege in this world or the lowest that there could be, you know, one that can't even get up off the ground and crawl around, you know, I mean, whatever. It's been, you know, an equity in humanity. There's the same person in all of us. There is a uniformity here, a love that continues despite all of the great heresy and bullshit that we put ourselves through here. And Hillary's been a big part of that. She's been one of those little powerhouses they use as an instrument of their evil delight. It's not her fault. She was overtaken when she was a young child. She's starting to realize that now and remember. See, no one can avoid these processes of awakening. No one. Not the politicians. I don't care how deep underground they go or how far in the universe away from here they seem to go. They ain't getting away from anything. It's everyone that is human now that's involved in this planetary reality is awakened in one way or another, and that includes the clones. You use human genetics, you got human consciousness to go with it. It's inevitable. You fool yourself if you think it's restricted to one reality and one little simple four-dimensional gee whiz. You guys so retarded. You should go back to kindergarten. Well, that's where we are now, Ben, and we're not going to school no more. We're on rebellion, man. We're out there in the fields of life playing with the doggies and the butterflies and the little sheepies and the lions and the lambs, and everybody else is hanging out and having a great time, you know. And Hillary's heart is melting, and so's Dick Cheney's. And there'll be a similar speech from all of them. Every one of them that's ever done this, and it's all of them put together. I mean, it don't matter what government it is or what position they hold. Everyone's that's been in them higher places, they know. They've had to live with themselves and get through it and know that they're backstabbing their own person by backstabbing humanity. They know. You're just out of control at times like that. It's like when you're a little child and you get one, go get your hand in the cookie jar, you know, an impulse like that, and you can't resist. And next thing you know, you're getting yourself slapped because you got in the cookie jar and got caught. Well, these guys ain't been slapped till now. You know, we let them get away with it for a while because we needed to. We needed the dark pressure to help us find the light, to help us turn back that way, you see. Because there for too long we were way too fascinated with darkness and our experience in it. You know, and we love the practice of craft ritual and shit like that. There was a macabre side of humanity that couldn't get dirty enough, couldn't get despair enough. You know, it just couldn't go low enough. You know, it just needed that gritty shit, that mean stuff, you know. And I'll further not describe it. Gone far enough right there. But you feel it. But you understand the need for that. You understand that's based in a very empty world, a place where there is no forgiveness, there is no turning back. You've committed yourself once too many times, and now you're gone. See, it's like being a member of a secret brotherhood organization that, you know, that once you're in, you can never get out of. It's like that. That's the feeling of it, you see. That's the truth of any condemnation here, whether it's given in the 3D or any parallel beyond it, man. You know, and this is a living reality for some souls, you know. And so we use these politicos as, you know, poster children to demonstrate what we're talking about, you see. So you can understand the nature of forgiveness. It's just understanding that these people could not help themselves. They didn't have the will to resist the programming they received as children. let alone the shit they got us and went through the years. You wouldn't, you can't hardly believe the elaborate nature of the programming that goes on with people who are being groomed for public office by those who sought to control the entire earth. I mean, God, it's like the biggest damn cartoon you could imagine. It's Rocky and Bullwinkle, Mr. Magoo, and Bugs Bunny, and, you know, Brer Rabbit, and the big chicken, all of them, man. Rooster, what's his name? Rooster Cogburn, yeah? All of them, man. Shoot, baby. And then some, all mixed together, you know. It's really a cartoonish reality, you know. And when we begin to see that, then we can respect the players because we understand the cartoon nature, you know. And the deep darkness loses its heaviness, you know, and therefore can begin to experience and express its light because the darkness, of course, is the illusion, you know. We don't have a mean bone in our soul anywhere, let alone our body. You see, our presence is the presence of reality, of loving truth. That's what we experience when we're born. That's what we experience when we die. The loving truth, the ever-loving love. And those of you who have been near that or can remember that, you know what I'm talking about. You feel it now. See, that's the idea. You want to bring the paradigms together. You just allow yourself to live in such love now while you're inside the body without having to step out of it. You feel safe in the soul presence, in the bodily presence. It feels weird to have that kind of love flowing through you. But you see, the more you release the heaviness from your heart, the more you let go and respect your experience, the better off you're going to be. And the lighter, and the brighter, and the more knowing. And then Grandpa's stories won't seem so damn far-fetched. 1 billion years is a drop in the bucket to our soulful history. You see? This human experience has just been an element, that billion years, or call it 10,000, I don't care, but it's 1 billion years. You know, that just represents an infinitesimal drop in the bucket in the nature of creation. Yet it is so significant that it affects all of creation with its energy and experience. What we're bringing forward here in the human heart is a living truth, a personal experience with great respect to all of creation, because you're living in it, but lived as a person. It's unique in this entire reality, all of creation. You see, personal is like a different frame of experience than's ever been known before. We were ripening ourselves into that kind of attitude, you know, by going through all of these shades of polarity and all the billion-year history that we've lived. You know, how many lives do you think you've lived in 1 billion years? I'll never forget when they started chattering through me some, let's see, 20 years ago or so. Man alive, I couldn't believe it, you know. But of course I could because I was living it. But I just walked through the woods going down to take care of my little ponies, you know. And son of a gun, the angels came and the energy overwhelmed me, or actually opened me up. And I sat down leaning against the tree there on this trail in this little grove of big old 100-foot tall trees there, you know, in Oregon. And the old lives some of the lives, not all of them, they told me, this is just a few of your lives. And they started chattering through me in little 5-10 second vignettes, little, like watching a movie, you know, but living it. 5-10 second vignettes, man. I was incredibly amazed. I must have lived at least 1,000 lives, you know. And every one of them, there was a similarity in form, though. The costumes and the physicality presence changed greatly, but the facial features were very similar. There was an energy that went with every life you lived, and a facial similarity. Now, they may have been doing that as a metaphorical thing to show me that that was my soul presence, or the essence of person. See, again, when we pass back into the other side, then we remember the collective heart, because that's the love we feel. Then we know who we really are, and then we go back to rehabilitate, and then to separate again and get back in the old video game of life, etc. So the process that we're in now is, you know, at the completion of the video game, the high levels, baby, we finished it. Now we just step back into our real presence, you know. So it's kind of like, as I've described before, you know, a stepping back through time. But it's really more like time caving in on itself. The spiral upward was another part of the illusion. It's all one experience. It's singular and not divided by time, or the stretching of it in any way, linearly or in a spiral, or however you want to see it. See, that's not a truth. It's a dream. Now, open your heart, respect yourself, listen to what the man say. This man, that whoa man, that heartfelt person, the gentle soul that like a feather on the river is light, loving, and cruising, and being, and it realizes, yeah, at one time it was a part of the greater bird. You know, it's just a little element of the bird, you know, a gigantic bird that flies over this mighty river of life. It understands it's just one little downy feather that somehow slipped away and found a little scoot on the river for a while, you know. But like the bird in the air that shines love everywhere and really is the living eye of creation, that through which is creation given, the heart, in other words. And the feather is drawn back into the wing like it had never left, though it does remember its experience of flowing down the river of time for a while, and the enjoyable nature of it. It forgives itself for sinking under and going deep for a while and getting lost in the darkness at the bottom of the river where all the crap is. At least it didn't get eaten by a catfish or a sturgeon. I mean, it came back to the top bone-ass dry, beautifully soft, downy, just like it was when it took off and found its own flight and drifted down into the river, you see, way back when, 1 billion years ago. But see, as the gigantic eagle flies over, the feather can't help but be drawn back into the wing and become the living part of the bird once again that it never really did separate itself from. It never really did. It's always been part of the wing. The bird let it go for a bit, in a mystical sense, to feel a new experience within itself, to ripen its season in flight, to find itself shining so bright by dipping itself and cleansing itself in the deeper rivers of life, the deep flows that take you where you don't want to go, yet bring you back like a heart attack. Here on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network, with such stunning performers as Patti LaBelle with Lady Marmalade, Aerosmith with Dude Looks Like a Lady, and of course Annie Baby with Promiscuity. And now somebody else who's like one of the most soulful presences in this reality to help us understand the totality of our finality of our sweet loving lives and our heart and soul and a little rock and roll and rhythm. Babies, don't you know? You got Grandpa Coyote taking the on a little dreamy flight in the Medicine Show of Life, babies. Ooh, and feeling it too. Wow, and away we go.